The director is known as the strongest villain in unstable SMP history. But how powerful actually was he? In order to answer this question, we have to first understand how the director even came to be. The director wasn't born as a villain, he was created by grief, and understanding that is the only way to understand why his power worked differently from every other antagonist this server has ever seen. Wifies and Parrot were best friends in a yandere way, and that's not speculation, Wifies proved it. During the height of the Invisible Mafia conflict, Wifies faked his own death. The dog swap trick, replacing himself with a dog at the critical moment, was pulled off so convincingly that nobody questioned it. Not Parrot, not Bat, not the Mafia. Everyone accepted Wifies as dead and moved on. Except Wifies didn't move on. He disappeared into the shadows and started building something, creating a world where nobody had to worry about dying, where Parrot specifically could never be put in danger again. Keep this origin in mind because it explains why the director operated so differently from every villain before and after him. Ashlak wanted control, Letus K wanted power, Separata wanted revenge, Jamato P wanted order, and the director just wanted to protect one person, and he was willing to do anything to accomplish it. There are 5 main layers to the director's villainy. The first and most obvious layer is the roster he assembled. It's real me, the #1 ranked PvP player in the world, not the server, the entire world. The person who walked into Bat headquarters, maced 5 trained fighters in rapid succession, replaced his armor without needing a shulker box, and forced an entire bounty hunting organization to run. It's Real Me told Parrot directly that once Parrot had a team, it was too much trouble to fight him. Mr. Cube 6 was the redstone genius, whose trap record against Parrot alone is remarkable. A void trap disguised as a lava trap, a wire trap that would detonate the entire Bat headquarters, a 12 hallway death maze, a bomb attack aimed at the base simultaneously, and communication system tampering that intercepted Bat's internal messages for an extended period. Mr. Cube 6 didn't fight Parrot, he made Parrot's environment into a weapon. True Original was a hacker with capabilities that should not exist on any survival server. He walked on water, flew, cloned himself, slowed down time, broke multiple blocks with one click, and could swap his position with another player's, a move that nearly killed Parrot in the Orbital Strike explosion. Bat needed an Orbital Strike cannon to kill him, and even that almost wasn't enough because he teleported Parrot into the blast zone at the last second. What matters about these 3 is that the director didn't use any of them at the same time. He sent It's Real Me first to test Parrot's response under pressure, Mr. Cube 6 second to infiltrate and destabilize Bat's internal trust, True Original third to destroy Bat's infrastructure entirely. That's strategic deployment, each one escalating in destructive capability, which goes well beyond simply having powerful allies, and critically the director never once appeared in a director fight himself, because he never needed to. But before we continue, I want to ask you to subscribe, because breaking down a villain this complex across an entire server's history takes serious research, and subscribing would genuinely help a ton. Also, let me know in the comments whether you think the director is the strongest villain Unstable has ever seen. The second layer is where the director separates himself from every other villain in the series, and it's information supremacy. The Dandelion incident is the clearest demonstration. When Bat imprisoned Mr. Cube and gave him Dandelion as an identifier, the director's next communication to Bat referenced the Dandelion, information that was shared inside a secure prison cell between people who trusted each other completely, with no apparent way for an outsider to know about it. The answer, revealed much later, was simpler and darker. Jumper Who was feeding the director information, not voluntarily but under leverage. The director had threatened to leak the identities of every single one of her spies if she didn't comply.
If you leave, all my spies' identities are getting leaked. You can't leave.
Beyond Jumper, the director was tracking Parrot's entire inventory in real time.
1 oak boat, 1 dripstone, an enchanted diamond axe, 62 obsidian.
When Parrot gained the spyglass, the director didn't know, because Parrot never placed it in a chest or showed it to anyone. It was the one item that existed completely outside the director's surveillance network. Keep this blind spot in mind because it became the most important detail in the entire arc. The third layer is resources. When Bat followed the director through his pro cannon and found a trap containing multiple full netherite zombies, entire sets of netherite armor on NPCs used as expendable weapons, Parrot's reaction was immediate. The invisible mafia had mined out nearly all the netherite on the server. Where did the director get full netherite sets to give to zombies? The answer was never fully explained, but the implication is clear. A dead man can go anywhere and take anything without consequence. He built Paragon, a custom prison with nether walls in every direction, a flying machine transport system, multiple layers of cells, and a chamber specifically designed for a pressure plate standoff. Building that required enormous resource investment. It was completed, fully operational, and had never been discovered by anyone. The fourth layer is leverage, and it's the principle the director lived by. He articulated his operating philosophy explicitly while in Paragon. If you can control something that someone cares about, you can control that person. He didn't just say this, he demonstrated it across the entire arc. Jumper Who was controlled through a spy's identities. Leo worked through his position as a bad member and the safety of his team, and they robbed you through the same mechanism. The director didn't conquer Bat's leadership, he leveraged it. By the time Parrot was imprisoned in Paragon, 3 of the most important people in his support network were working for the person holding him captive, and none of them had a choice. This is a form of power that no other villain on the server has demonstrated. Ashslag used stasis chambers as direct physical leverage. Lettuce K used hostages, and the director used relationships, specifically the things that people cared about enough that threatening them produced total compliance. He had no army, only leverage points, and those leverage points were enough to control an organization that was actively hunting him. The fifth layer is psychological warfare, and the framing of Parrot as the director is the most sophisticated move in the entire arc. The evidence planted against Parrot was perfectly calibrated. And then there was the voice changer line, the single most chilling moment in the entire arc. The voice changer isn't for me, it's for you. If you knew who I was, you wouldn't be angry, you'd be terrified. He knew exactly what Parrot's emotional reaction to his real identity would be. He planned for it and delayed it precisely as long as he needed to. Now let's compare him to every other villain because this is where his actual ranking becomes clear. Ashslag built the largest faction in server history, and his power was numerical, hundreds of thousands of control members, a structured hierarchy, mutually assured destruction through stasis chambers. He needed skill to function. When skill was removed through smoke destroying the chambers, he had nothing. The director needed exactly one well-placed leverage point. Ashslag's power spread wide while the directors went deep. Against Lettuce K, Lettuce K's power was that he built the law as a functioning government and needed the perception of public to operate. Strip that away and his power evaporates. The director operated entirely in the shadows. Against Separata, Separata is a military commander whose power is armies. The director operated without a single soldier, placing them in completely different threat categories. Against Clownpiece, Clownpiece is the server's most dangerous individual combat master, and he can be fought. It's costly but possible. The director never fought directly, not once during the entire arc. Against Yamato P, this is the closest comparison, because both are information-based antagonists who operate through leverage and perfect knowledge of their targets. Yamato P even spoke the same way the director tracked Parrot. The difference is scale and emotion. Yamato P built an institution called Null to execute his plan, while the director built an operation around a single person. What makes the director uniquely special in a way no comparison fully captures is this. Every other villain has to manage the threat of being hunted, but the director had no threat to manage because the hunting phase was completely skipped, since Bat's first instinct was to find someone alive. Being dead is an immunity no other villain on the server has ever exploited. Nobody hunts a dead man, assigns resources to monitoring his movements, or considers his base a threat to surveil. And his weakness, the only thing that actually ended him, makes him more fascinating. The director was defeated by a spyglass. Remember when I said that blind spot would become the most important detail in the arc? This is exactly why. When Parrot revealed it on the pressure plate and said it's all yours, echoing the exact moment wifies gave it to him before getting chunk banned, it triggered something that the director had buried completely. Wifies ran for the spyglass and the TNT killed him. His weakness was the one thing his entire operation was built to protect. His love for Parrot becoming the thing that destroyed him. No other villain on the server was defeated by their own emotions. Ashdrag fell to infiltration, Lattice K to military force, True Original to an orbital cannon, but the director was defeated by a friendship. So how strong was the director actually? Combat wise, 0, because he never fought directly. Strategically, 10 out of 10. Every phase of his operation executed exactly as intended. He ran circles around Bat for the entire arc, controlled their spy master, tracked their leader's inventory, framed Parrot so convincingly his own team tried to kill him, built an inescapable prison, and hired the 3 most dangerous individual contractors the server had ever seen. The director is the greatest villain to ever exist on unstable SMP, and no one even comes close. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to watch more unstable SMP videos, check out the video on screen.